All right, guys, welcome to another Power AMA. Mascot, we got Shadow up here. Uh, Ronan should be here soon. He was just running a couple minutes behind, finishing some stuff up in his whatever he's got going on today. So he should be coming. We'll go a little bit about where we're at, kind of where we're going. We'll take some questions. We'll keep it nice and short and lean today. Not having anything too crazy today. We're not going to be dropping any new features mid AMA and stuff as much as we'd like to. We really want to make sure everything's polished before we go dropping it. So to start off, I know you guys have been hearing a lot about it in chat and stuff. There's been no real incredibly formal announcement about it, but the Power Games, we have Liu has made a game all himself that is going to be hosted on our servers. It's going to be like powergames.io or something. We'll get that finalized URL to you guys when it's done. Hopefully within the next week and a half, 2 weeks. It's basically all built and done. It's just wiring it all up. And it's really cool because you guys will be able to play games and wager against one another and earn Phantom for those games. So native chain token, we love that. So that way we're not going to be impacting the price of power. And instead, that'll flow into the protocol, which we can then utilize for buybacks and bolstering the price of power, while also increasing usage on the Phantom network. What's going to be really cool, and we're going to need you guys' help with, is those power games do not require generators to play. Anybody can come in, drop $100 on some games, walk out with $500. So it's accessible to everyone. So when that time comes, I need you guys to be retweeting that stuff on Twitter, telling your friends, family, go to your grandma's quilting club and tell them all to get on the Power Games bandwagon. Because the more people we have playing, the more fun it's going to be, the more money we're going to make, and the more we can do to buy back those Power V2 tokens and get that price back up to where it deserves to be. Moving on from that, I know price is something that people are concerned about because of the low liquidity at the moment. So let me just clarify some things going on with that. You hear a lot of people say, why can't we just move the liquidity from Power V1 to Power V2? And there's a couple issues with that. And that's because the majority of the LP in Power V1 is owned by investors like me and you. Okay, so when the staking was active and not at the end block, when the farming was active and not at the end block, you'd stake your power in Wrap Phantom or Power Energy, whatever, and you would yield more power tokens. So two things with that. One, let me get to the first point. So that means that the majority of the liquidity, that's the Power Wrap Phantom pool, is owned by people like you and myself. Now, why haven't we told those people to unstake just yet? Because of the issue that we had with Power V1, where there wasn't enough tokens to pay out nodes and people staking. Right now, when you unstake your LP tokens, you don't get the tokens that it says you're supposed to get when you unclaim, when you unstake. You get 0. And then that's just a huge nightmare for us. We're trying to work around that. So if you have LP tokens staked, just leave them right now. We're working with Cut to get that flipped over so that when you unstake your Power V1 Wrap Phantom LP tokens, that you get Power V2 back. And as soon as that is green lighted, I'm going to announce to everybody, pull out your pull out your LP tokens, take those rewards that you've made, and get them back into the ecosystem. Break apart your LP tokens for Power V1, sell it, buy Power V2, whatever. But that way we can get the liquidity moved over by hand. It's just sort of difficult because it's not us that owns the liquidity. It's mainly people like you and me. So as soon as we can get that unstake problem resolved, where we can get that switch from yielding Power V1 to Power V2, I'm going to give the green light and try to get everybody unstaked so we can get that LP where it needs to go. And we just don't believe it feels morally right to sort of steal people's LP tokens, even if that's possible or were possible. It's just not really in our moral compass to do that, to sort of unstake and move people's tokens out of their wallet and then whatnot. It's just not really in our agenda. So hold tight as we work on the LP The nice thing about having a low liquidity pool for Power V2 is that you don't have to buy as much to move the price up. So if you guys want to absolutely pump the stock, now would be the time to do that. Definitely pay attention to that over the next couple of weeks when we can, hopefully not next couple of weeks, it shouldn't be too difficult of a change. We just have so many things on our agenda that we can really get that liquidity moved. It's just tough when it's owned by the people. So moving on from that, other things that we're talking about internally and that we're building outside of the power games and fixing the LP is adding a floor price to each node. Right now we're thinking for a nuke, you'll pay your 75 Phantom, and on top of that, not 75 power tokens, and on top of that, for creating a new generator or compounding, it's going to be the same amount in power, but also 10 USDC. So if you're compounding with your unclaimed rewards, that's fine. You also need to have 10 USDC in your wallet. We're looking into some things like, maybe if you want to do it only with power, you're going to need to have an equivalent amount, which would be, 1,000 power tokens or whatever unclaimed to build that nuke on top of the 75. So 1,075 power tokens. Getting into that's a little more nitty gritty because you have to be able to have some oracles to track the price and stuff, but that's totally fine. But right now we're looking at about $10 USDC for nuclears, $2 for hydro, $1 for solar, and 50 cents for a wind. So our long-term plans for that, guys, is we don't love that, right? We don't want that base fee to be there forever. Once power starts to come back up and power is bouncing and the crypto market's bouncing, we would love to take that off. But it's just to protect the price so that someone doesn't come in with $600, make 100 nukes, and just perpetuate a massive accumulation period of generators. Because before you know it, you snowball and you're at 600 generators and 1,000,000 generators, and then it just becomes harder and harder to handle. So we're just trying to kind of protect that process a little bit by protecting that floor price that we've all bought in, over that, $7.50 mark for a nuke, whatever. So we want to protect those people and protect that investment. Down the line, what we'd like to do is also maybe take 20% of that USDC, which will go to buybacks, by the way. That's also going to be beneficial for all you guys. So for those that are compounding, those that are buying new generators, that goes right back into bolster the price of the Power V2 token and help build up that LP. What we'd like to do is maybe 20% of all of that USDC that gets brought in from compounding from new generators goes into kind of a last ape standing kind of reward pool, where if in a 10-day period you have compounded, you have made nukes, you buy yourself essentially a compound ticket, and every 10 days all of that 20% of the total USDC accumulated over that 10-day period gets randomly paid out to one of those wallets from compounding or buying new nukes. So that'd be really sweet, right? You compound and you win, and you basically ROI with USDC airdrop right to your wallet. That would be really cool. So that's not going to be out as soon as we launch that feature. But that's the direction we want to go, and then ultimately to take that feature off once the price of power starts to rise on its own. We plan to have that out this week, as that feature is pretty much built. As you can imagine, it's not a very difficult thing to build into the existing power framework. So you can kind of expect to see, in a relative order, you'll see the USDC, the power games, and then storms. And again, with storm, just remind everybody, the claim tax will be adjusted. The max day should be like 15 days to claim. So that's kind of the direction we're going. Outside of that, we're kind of just pressing on those three things as they take a majority of our time, because they're a little bit, especially with the storms, a little bit more of an in-depth feature to build. And our devs are either on vacation or sick, and they're just getting back. That's why there's been a little bit of a delay. It's why we didn't have an AMA last week, was there just wasn't a lot of progress. When people are down and they have COVID, there's only so much you can do. So we never want to blow smoke up, at you guys and come in and say, we're doing this and this and this, when it's not happening. So But the wheels are back on the bus again. We're getting things going. So those are top 3 things to really look forward to in the next 2 to 3 weeks as we move forward. Really excited for those power games. Definitely going to need everybody to shill that on social media as much as possible. Get everybody playing because, we take a portion of every game and that goes right back into buybacks. So at this point, I think we're ready to take questions. If you want to raise your hand, I'll be happy to bring some people up on stage. Ronan, how's it going, my man?
Oh, well.
Excellent. Waiting to see the first hand. Can you guys see the hand? I turned it on. Is that button there? Raise your hand if you can see it. Anybody have any questions about any of those features? The logistics? Swap Lee, what's going on? Can you guys hear him? What's up, Billy Vaughn?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, brother?
I missed the very first part. What were you talking about? The power again? I guess we're having fees now. Is that what you were talking about?
It's just an increase in cost to protect the floor price. So if you want to compound or create, there's going to be a small USDC fee as well to do that, just so that people that own nukes, there's a protected price to that asset. And that goes right back into buybacks.
Okay, so now we got to have USDC to compound?
Yeah, so it'll be $10 per nuke.
To compound?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Like I said, I hadn't caught it, so that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, no worries.
When is that going into effect?
We're probably shooting for this week.
This week?
Yep.
Okay.
So get your compounding.
And then how do you think that's gonna help? I'm just curious.
So it's going to help in a number of ways. So while the power price is so low, there's a lot of generator creation and compounding that's going on that's sort of detrimental to the direction that we want to take power in the long term as we head towards into the winter season. And so by having a little bit more of a floor price, we're going to slow down that compounding just enough, while also allowing us to bring some extra USDC in that can get turned right back around into buybacks to bolster the liquidity of Power V2 as well as the price, and mitigating the snowballing effect of unending compounding and people picking up 5 nukes for $35.
Okay, and then what else do you got on the pop on after that?
Well, then we have the storms, which will help to continue to reduce emissions for people that aren't involved in the power ecosystem anymore, as well as bolster some more utilization for energy. Well, especially with the signing. The signing's coming up on like 2 weeks already. So signing will help with energy. Storms will help with power and filling the treasury so we can make some more investments as we head towards the next bull run here. Crossing my fingers, hopefully in the next couple months, as well as buybacks. So everything we're doing is usually twofold, right? We really have 2 main agendas with everything we try to do: to protect the ecosystem, which is to prevent the compounding from getting out of control, while also balancing price protection, right? How can we ensure that the people that want to play and want to be involved in Power's ecosystem are still protected and still have a good time and it's still financially reasonable to them, while also not allowing the price to continue to spiral to 1 cent, right? That's not the direction we want to go. We want to start heading back up and making some changes that on paper aren't like, yeehaw, this is awesome, is going to be the way to do that for now. And that USDC thing we don't want on forever. We want to be in a position where we take that off, because the power token is valuable enough on its own, right? But right now, a nuke is $7.50, and that's just not where we want to be.
Yeah, I understand that. I just knew back in the beginning they were saying there was never going to be any fees,
Well,
or
this isn't. This
tried
is
not to be away from the fees. I'll put
yeah.
it that way.
No, and that's the direction we want to go, and we're seeing like other things that'll help mitigate stuff like that in the future, like with our Power Games platform, which will have more and more products on it. But until we get to that point, we have to still sort of protect the ecosystem that we have, and it takes time to build great features that sort of turn this entire ship around, right? Because at the end of the day, we are built on Ring's code. I mean, we've moved a long ways away from there, but that model is a hard model to shake, and it takes a long time. And so implementing sort of safety cones or like runway bumpers in the meantime to keep us on track while we go towards our end goal is kind of how we see what we're implementing. And it's not something that we want there forever, but we're putting it on so that we can be around for things to get better.
So what about the claim tax? Y'all are wanting to run the storms, now you're adding USDC. So now you're going to have a lot of people spending money out of pocket.
Only for compounding.
Only for compounding. Now, what's the fee? What's the percentage going to be on the? How's that going to be? Still the 45 days to get 10%, or how's that going to be?
So that'll be reduced to like 15 days maximum to coincide with the storms.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, we don't want to penalize you for claiming to take care of your storms. That wouldn't be right. So you'll get the max tax reduction for that.
Yeah, with the storms, how is that going to work on? You got to pay Phantom and Power. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's
beforehand.
It's based on the type of node, and how many you have, and it's like 30% or so. And you don't have to pay those fees, and your nodes will continue to theoretically produce yield for forever. You don't have to pay them. They will still yield tokens, but they will see penalizations every storm period. But if you're like, I don't really feel comfortable putting any more money into the Power ecosystem, that's totally fine. I know that some of our competitor nodes and people in the ecosystem that we respect and have, good relationships with, there are fees, and if you don't pay them, that's it. You're done. We don't want that kind of system, right? Our underlying sort of theme in design is always sort of investor player options, right? We want you to be able to customize your experience. So if you don't want to pay those fees, that's fine. Don't pay those fees. You'll continue to receive rewards for months after not paying those fees.
But aren't you going to be crippled in the process?
I mean, you won't receive the maximum yield, but we're not just going to turn them off.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's all I was wondering. I mean, so all the liquidity from V1 has already been moved to V2?
No. So I covered that earlier on. I don't have the time to really go over it right now. But I would listen to the recording. A lot of it is owned by the investors because of the staking and farming pools. And so I'm just waiting for the go-ahead that some of our systems are set up in the back end so that we can push everyone to move their liquidity to V2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. I was just wanting to touch base.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate it.
Because I've been in pretty much from the beginning, so that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, no, I got you. That makes two of us. Everything we're doing is to build a brighter future for Power. It's just making sure that we make the right moves, that we're still around to be there when the future comes. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, 100% makes sense.
So, all right.
So, all right, guys. That's all I was wondering.
All right, I appreciate you. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.
All righty. What's going on, Swap Lee? Got any questions or Crypto Dude? What's up? I cannot see the requests. They are not showing up for me. It's really weird. What's going on,
Hey guys. So what are the plans for stabilizing the price of power, and how do we get it back to where it was maybe 2-3 months ago, somewhere around $10 or something like that? So, what are the plans to bring it back?
The plans are to make as many non-Ponzi based sources of income as possible. And you can do that a lot, each and every one of you guys, that when those power games come out, you spread the word on those power games. If we can get people playing our power games, we're going to create a source of income that is non-Ponzi related for power that goes back to bolstering the underlying price of Power V2. It's a win-win. We get more people learning about power, we increase our own ecosystem, and we also bring in non-Ponzi related cash for offering a genuine, true, usable product. So, and of course, the more use we get out of that game, out of power games, the more incentivized we're going to be to build faster and better products for the power games platform. So, you talk about bolstering price. The best thing you guys can do is when that comes out, is spread the word, and then we'll continue to build products like that that allow for us to bring in non-Ponzi related cash flows for legitimate, true products.
Can you give some examples? I'm interested to maybe build some e-commerce sites and all, if at all possible, using power or energy tokens. I don't know if that is going to help, or what are the other ways we can really make use of these tokens.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that we already kind of have a merch store that Shadow runs, that you can use your power tokens for now, and gift cards too. Correct, Shadow? If you want, right? We got gift cards. So, um, so e-commerce is kind of a tough thing because it's tough because we always want to bring money back into the ecosystem that's non-Ponzi related, right? So if someone goes to if you create a third-party merch store, chances are, let's say that you start taking power at your business. That's all well and good, but at the end of the day, when you want to cash that out, you're just going to sell it right back on the market. For us, it's a little different because we own our merch store that goes back to the rewards pool, and it sort of gets disseminated in a way that's advantageous to all the investors. So that one's kind of niche and a little bit of a difficult thing. That's why we haven't super prioritized partnerships like that, just because like the long-term scope of how that really benefits us is a little bit foggy the longer you look at it down the line. So we're really trying to lean towards building non-Ponzi related products that will produce income for our protocol with or without people owning power generators like the power games. Because with that power games, we can have a whole platform of other products for people to interact with, to share our community with, a place for people to come and make some money with some fun aspects of crypto and DeFi, and really just sort of bolster our underlying value.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, great question. Any other questions? Getting pinged in the AMA questions here. Let me check the tab.
Oh, the handbook says you're supposed to blend in on the hot conspicuous. How's it? Yeah.
Who was that? Look away for 2 seconds. All right. LPK asks, what are the games, genre / theme, etc.? There seem to be a lot of people worried that 15 days for Storm is too short. People go on holiday for longer. 30 would be more reasonable. Has conversation been had about moving to a Power USDC LP pool? When will we know when the first lots of nodes are deactivated? All right, so let me break these down piece by piece. So the game / genre theme, the genre, as far as a whole, our big picture scope, there's not going to be like one particular genre, right? We want to create games that people want to play. The first one is just going to be like a 1v1 sort of like a game of accuracy, if you will. It's you versus the opponent, and you're trying to wind up and hit each other and whatnot. It's kind of hard to describe without a video. I mean, in my head, I can see it, but I understand. It'll be short interactions, probably 3 to 10-minute games. And it'll be great because you'll both sort of throw down some Phantom, and whoever wins takes the pot. So you guys could potentially sit there and cash out your power tokens, sell them into some Phantom, roll through an hour or two of games, and bankroll that into a whole bunch more power really fast. So so the genre, it's not really specific. We just want to create products that we think are fun to play, regardless of the genre. We don't want to really niche ourselves too early until we get some really good user feedback. We've talked about taking the storms to a 20-10 ratio, where it's every 20 days, and the storms last for 10 days. So the whole individual, like, one storm event from start to finish is a 30-day period. And I think we're kind of feeling like that's probably the best way to go. It's kind of that sweet spot. So the whole storm period is 30 days, and the signing is 30 days. People going on holiday, I understand that. Realistically, those are very niche. A lot of people have MetaMask on their phone. It's tough. It's like, because you really got to ask yourself, you want to cripple a product that thousands of people use for 2 or 3 people on vacation that probably should just download MetaMask on their phone. And our solution to that is allowing people to be able to pay storms out in advance at a premium cost, right? So if you don't want to deal with storms for the next 4 cycles, we can offer that. It's going to be a lot more costly, though. Just sort of de-incentivizing that. Has conversation been added about moving to a Power USDC LP pool? It hasn't at the moment. We really love Phantom and what Phantom is and represents. And so keeping that pool is important to us. Also, because the team is a strong believer in the Phantom network, that as the price of Phantom goes up, it will take Power with it. If we're locked into a Power USDC pool, if Phantom's back at $3, we're still not going to be moving. If Phantom went up to $3 right now, Power would probably be like 60 cents. And you all would have a nice fat 4x on your investment just because of Phantom moving as the underlying pair. So we'll probably continue to stick with that. We won't be sharing about nodes deactivated anytime soon. Those numbers they're needed, but they're not something we want to boast in, right? We understand that hacked accounts have to go and that people that don't participate have to go, but it's not something we're excited to celebrate. We want to protect every investor in Power, and being in a position where we have to deactivate some accounts that are abandoned is sad for us. That was not the future that we had envisioned for Power. However, it is the steps we have to take to make Power exist long enough so that we can get back to a good place. So we may share that in a very respectful, statistical kind of way, but as of right now, I can't put a date on when that will be, because a lot of that relates to getting into a couple signing cycles and storms and really being able to get published numbers that we feel are meaningful enough to warrant publishing, and not just like, oh, we killed off the first couple nodes, because that just really could be in poor taste, because again, that's not ever what we want. We're only ever doing what has to be done to keep Power alive, but it's not at all something we're pumped for. Are there any questions on the stage? Dollar Crip?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Did you have a question? I can't hear you, brother. Your mic is tripping out. Slipshot, you got anything for us today?
Yeah, I got you. So with your guys' USDC, what's the law? I mean, how is that going into a multi-sig wallet? How's that USDC can be protected? And then are you guys planning? You said 20% for, let's say, possible reward for random, but are you guys planning on using that for anything else besides just for compounding? Are you planning on using it to pay employees or part of the product team members? What's the long?
Right now, the main usage of that, it is going to a multi-sig wallet, so it is protected. The main usage of that is so that the team can operate buybacks on a regular basis.
Okay.
It's not really going to be used to pay team members. I mean, it may be used for things like the fees that it takes for us to run the game servers, right? But we're talking like $100 a year. So outside of that, it's really designed because it's coming out of your guys' pocket, right? And our pocket when I compound. So it's really important to us that that goes right back to the community as fast as possible through buybacks of the Power V2 token.
Okay. Then what's the once you said the strategic vision is not to have that in the future once power comes up, but of course my fear is that you guys are going to rely on this particular income, right, for these fees income. So what's the strategy to replace that in the future?
Yeah.
Have you thought of that far yet?
Let me clarify one thing for you. That's as far as income right now, the power team is in a pretty solid place. Our treasury is still at 900,000. We still have $1.5 million in USDC. So we're not in a place where we're worried that we're going to run out of funds to pay the devs or anything like that. That's not a position we're in. We're in a very mindful position where we're not spending money willy-nilly. If you're familiar with that phrase, but
yes, I am.
we're not running dry per se. So we're not going to be relying on it. It's like, oh, we're doing it. The main point of that USDC fee is to prop up some buybacks that don't take away from our treasury, but also to really help with the issue of massive amounts of compounding going on when nukes are $7. That's really,
I understand.
It's just to sort of help. And then we have those big wallets of people with 260 nodes compounding 4 nukes a day. And they're not their wallets, we love to have them. That massive account is not bolstering the power community at all, right? Because there's a point we got to say, you have 360 nodes. As much as we love you, that's enough. Like if you want to compound, it's going to cost a little more, and so just protecting a little bit more balance across the people that are getting in, and they only have 3 nodes compared to the guy that has 360. The compounding fee will help sort of protect everyone, because then that'll go back into buybacks and add more value to that little guy's nodes, and then ultimately add more value to the guy with tons of nodes. So generators, sorry.
I understand. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for answering my question.
Yeah, of course. So I think it's more so helping slow down compounding. It's not like, oh, we need the income. We don't expect to be making 5 figures a month from the USDC. I mean, if we do, I'm going to be blown away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it.
Of course. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Defrag Power says, can we offer any incentives for the power games if you do own nodes within the ecosystem, e.g. higher win rates if you own one of each type of node, or in time get special access to bigger specific gaming arenas? That would be pretty sick. I think that's definitely probably something we could do. My guess would be is probably to just increase the payout that you get, right? Because the power team takes a service charge for running that game. Maybe just reducing how much we take if you have a node or something of the like. I'll have to talk to the dev team and see how that relationship can talk to one another as far as between the servers to the nodes manager contracts and all that. But I don't think that would be out of the question. Any other questions? I'm getting pinged, and I do not have my mouse, and it's a terrible time. A trackpad is just top 5 most hated things in my entire life. If there's no hands, team, is there any remarks that you guys have? Anything that I've missed? Anything that you guys wanted to cover? Yasrox, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, brother. How are you?
Doing good. Guys, just a formal little, Yasrox is our community manager over on Telegram. Great guy, been a part of our team for a while now. So,
Thank you, brother. So, how is it going, Mascot? So, everything is on plan?
Everything's going good, brother. if we don't have any other questions, I think we'll probably wrap it up here. Sparky, what's going on? Good to see you, brother. You have a question? You're just coming up. Be the renegade hat that we all miss.
Oh, not so much trying to replace an irreplaceable bot, but I love the man.
Great guy.
He's great. No, I wanted to come in and just offer something, because just watching the comments that are going on in the Discord, and we've got a lot of people saying, hey, I came in and asked a legitimate question and I got banned, I got kicked, and all this, and just watching the questions today, and obviously we're not mods, we're community helpers, and we're trying to help fill a void, but a lot more kicking has been going on because of the negativity that everybody's just walking right in the door with. Nobody's asking a legitimate question anymore. They're coming in very negative and very attackish on people who are just here to help. And if everybody can just back off and look at it as what's best for the community, everybody wants longer durations between the storms, or lower fees, or be able to do it outside of the claiming so that no tax is paid. And it's like, how do these things help the protocol when you're trying to get all these things done for free? That's part of the problem. We've got to somehow curtail that. And the passive income, that doesn't mean it's free income. That doesn't mean it's pain-free income. That doesn't mean it's you do nothing income. I mean, we have people walking in to the Discord who are still asking about their superhumans. That's how long since they've been active in the community, but then they're wanting their cut of a pie that requires a lot of activity on a daily basis. So if everybody could just, be a bit more positive and help us from a community standpoint, it would really help. But don't be complaining and saying that people are getting kicked out just because they asked a question. And just saying I'm not trying to FUD doesn't that doesn't give license to then be an asshole to everybody.
That's just like, I'm not trying to sound racist, but
right, exactly. And it is just exhausting to people. We don't earn anything from this, and we're trying to keep our mods from getting completely burnt the hell out. But don't beat us up and attack us and come in all negative. We are doing our best to try and bring the toxicity down and clean up the conversation to where it can be legitimate questions. But when it starts off with a negative attack right off the bat, and then 15 interchanges later, now they're asking a legitimate question, that's exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. And it's really hard to keep your personal energy up when that's happening. So I'm just asking on a community level if everybody can just help us out, because it is hard right now. We're in deep bear territory that we don't know when it'll turn around, and all of us are waiting. Stop coming in and laughing. Oh my God, we're down to 10 cents. Soon it'll be a penny. Thanks, man. Like, we're not all aware of this and doing what we can, but you don't got to come in and throw that around like none of us are aware. So that's my ask. I mean, even now, people are already in these comments saying, why this, why that, won't this do this, won't do this. I mean, we're doing the best we can, and some of it we're paving a road as we're driving on the freeway. So yes, some things are going to get tried. They're not going to be great, and then adjustments will be made pretty quickly. And some things it'll create a problem, and we'll undo it, and we'll make adjustments. But for crying out loud, if you're not going to be part of the solution, don't be part of the problem. Let's feel it out, see how it works, and then if it's working for the protocol, great. If not, I have no doubt the devs will be the first one to help undo what needs to be done and try another tact in order to make this work. It's like you said, everybody's coming off of the ring fork, and everybody's trying to do something a little bit different to make this work for everybody.
Yeah, the ring
I think we're going to get there.
Hard-coded. Oh man, what was that Zeppelin that went up in flames? It was designed to implode.
The Hindenburg,
right? So trying to fix that takes a lot of time,
without shutting everything down.
Exactly.
You know, it's like trying to replumb a house and keep the water flowing at the same time. That is not ever going to be easy or pretty.
Yeah.
So, you know, all the people that are in this protocol are on the leading edge of something, not the tail edge, where everything is nice and smooth and methodical and has very little value.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it just, you know, I just ask and hope that the community can help us out. Poor Boom Fufu. I have no idea how that guy keeps his energy at the level he does. But even I think even he has the limits he's going to get to at some point.
Oh yeah.
So, other than that, love you guys and appreciate everything that you're doing.
Hey, I appreciate you too, brother. All right, let me look back through these. If there's no other questions, I think we'll probably wrap it up here. Give me just a second if there's any last hands that want to come up. But otherwise, we're coming into that hour mark, 45-minute mark. Short and sweet today. So a little wrap up. You guys can expect in the short future to see the USDC floor price added in within probably, how long would you say, Ronan? Probably within the next week, easily, right? Like it's basically done.
I was gonna say it's done as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, so it's just getting everything double checked by cut and then put out, which should be this week. And then you can expect to see the fixes for, not fixes, but updates for automation of lottery. I forgot to mention that with the Power Games server. So automation of lottery, the Power Games launching, which will be awesome. Please, if you do anything ever, make a Twitter account and just retweet it. I don't care what you do. Put up flyers in your neighborhood. Power Games is going to be sick. And should be a really great little beta test for us building products that are not Ponzi related at all. It'll be really cool to see that. And then from there, we'll go into the storms and just continuing to help really incentivize people to be a part of the Power ecosystem and really making it the niche environment that it should be as far as protecting the people that are wanting to be a part of Power. And then long scope from that, building out the Power Games, getting into those NFTs we've always wanted to do to bolster your generators and have all kinds of things as far as owning NFTs in the Power community. Still hashing that out. We've been thinking about NFTs for months. So when we do them, we do want to do them. We just want to do them right. So many NFTs get created and they're stupid and they just tank the price of whatever they're connected to. And it just kind of feels like a lead weight. And that's not what we want. We want the NFTs to be fun, cool, and above all, useful, value-adding tools. If we can't say that that is its first and foremost feature, we will not launch them. So I appreciate you guys' time. The whole Power team appreciates you and your continued support. Like Sparky said, if you don't want to be on our team, that's fine, but don't beat up the people that are trying to be on Power's team. You know, if you have nothing nice to say, you know, put it in a ticket and then we can have a discussion, but don't just come into chat and start beating people up. We all know it's tough times right now. You know, we're all kind of down and bleeding. There's no reason to start cutting each other up. So we appreciate you guys and we will catch you on the next one.